सुनाई नहीं दे रहा।
सहगन रघुनाथान्वितं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगन ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितां नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय विष्णवे श्रीमते नमस्ते रामनाथ स्वामी करुणाविनय गुणसम्पत्ति मम उद्धारक प्रभो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्यति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा
हरे कृष्णा
कृष्णा
कृष्णा हरे
हरे राम हरे
हरे राम राम हरे
So we'll continue reading from Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, chapter 19, Devotional Service in Pure Love of God. When one's desire to love Krishna in one's particular relationship becomes intensified, this is known as pure love of God. Samyakam srunitavsvanto mamatvatishay ankitam bhavaha sayeva sandratma buddhi prema nigatyate. When one hereby becomes completely purified of all material contamination, there develops an attachment and taste for devotional service. This taste and attachment, when gradually intensified in the course of a time, becomes love. The word love can be actually applied only in relationship with personality of a Godhead. In the material world, love is not applicable at all. What goes on under the name of love in the material world is nothing but lust. There is a gulf of difference between the love and lust, like the difference between gold and iron. In the Narada Pancharatra, it is clearly stated when a lust is completely transferred to the Supreme Godhead and the concept of kinship is completely reposed in him, such is accepted as a pure law of God by great authorities like Bhishma, Prahlad, Uddhava, and Narada. Ananya mamata Vishnu mamata prema sangata bhaktir iti uchyate Bhishma Prahlad Uddhava Narada. Bhakti hi premochate Bhishma mukhair tu sangata. Great authorities like Bhishma have explained that love of Godhead means completely giving up all so-called love for any other person. According to Bhishma, love means reposing one's affection completely upon one person, withdrawing all affinities for any other person in this pure love. This pure love can be transferred to the Supreme Personality of a Godhead under two conditions: out of ecstasy and out of the causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of a Godhead. It's interesting. ममता अनन्यम ममत्वेन वर्जिते अत्र योजना भावत्तो अतिप्रसादोत्थः श्रीहरेर इति सद्विधा. The first one is bhavotta, out of ecstasy. Bhava evantaranganam anganam anusevaya arudha paramotkarshaha bhavottha parikirtitaha. Ecstatic love of Godhead can be potently invoked simply by following the rules and the regulations of devotional service as they are prescribed in the scriptures.
Chapter 19, Ecstasy.
Under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. In the 11th canto, 2nd chapter, verse 40th of Srimad Bhagavatam, this ecstatic love born of the execution of regulative devotional service is explained. Evam vrataha swapriyanam itkirtya jatanurago dritachitta uchay hasatyo rodito rauti gayatyi unmatra nrityati lokabhaya. A devotee, in course of executing regulative principles of devotional service, develops his natural Krishna consciousness, and being thus softened at heart, he chants and dances like a madman. While performing chanting of the holy name of the Lord, he sometimes cries, sometimes talks wildly, sometimes sings, and sometimes, without caring for any outsider, dances like a madman. In the Padma Puran, there is a statement about ecstatic love born of a spontaneous affection. Chandrakanti, a celebrated fair-faced girl, rigidly observed celibacy in order to obtain Krishna as her husband. She always engaged herself in meditating on the transcendental form of the Lord and always chanted the glories of the Lord. She did not desire to accept anyone else as her husband. She had firmly decided that only Lord Krishna would be her husband. न पतिं कामयेत् कञ्चित् ब्रह्मचर्यस्थितः सदः तामेव मूर्ति ध्यायन्ति चन्द्रकान्ति वराननः. श्रीकृष्ण गाथां गायन्ति रोमाञ्चोद्भीतलक्षणाः अस्मिन् मन्वन्तरे स्निग्धा कृष्ण प्रियवार्तया. The next one is Shri Harer Rati Prasadottha. By the Lord's extraordinary mercy, that loves get manifested in the heart of devotee. Harer Rati Prasadoyam Sangadana Adir Atmanaha. When a devotee is found to be always associated with the Lord in ecstatic love, it is to be understood that such a position has been awarded by the Lord Himself out of His causeless extraordinary mercy. An example of such a extraordinary mercy is given in the 11th canto of 12th chapter, verse number 7 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Tenadishrutiganaanam nopasita mahattamaha avritra tapta tapaso sangam angan mama upagataha. The gopis in Vrindavan did not study the Vedas to achieve me, nor had they ever been in the holy places of pilgrimage, nor did they devotedly or devoutly execute any regulative principles, nor did they undergo any kind of austerity. It is simply by my association that they have attained the highest perfection of devotional service. The example of a Chandrakanti was as found in the Padma Puran, and from the example of the gopis as found in Srimad Bhagavatam, it appears that a devotee who always thinks of Krishna and who always chants his glories in ecstatic love, regardless of his condition, will attain the highest perfection of unalloyed devotional love due to Lord Krishna's extraordinary mercy. This is confirmed in Narada Pancharatra. महात्मज्ञानयुक्तस्य सुदृढा सर्वतो अधिकः स्नेहो भक्तिरतिः प्रोक्तास्तया साष्ठ्याद्य नान्यथा. If a person worships, adores, and loves Hari, the Supreme Lord, he should be understood to have finished all kinds of austerities, penances, and similar process of self-realization. On the other hand, if after undergoing all types of austerities, penances, and mystic yoga practices, one does not develop such a love for Hari, then all his performances are to be considered as a useless waste of time. If someone always sees Krishna inside and out, then it is to be understood that he has surpassed all austerities and penances for self realization. And if, after executing all kinds of penances and austerities, one cannot apply or one cannot always see Krishna inside out, then he has executed his performances useless. A spontaneous attraction to Krishna, which is said to be due to the extraordinary mercy of the Lord, can be placed under two headings. One is profound veneration for greatness of the Lord, and the other one is being automatically attracted to Krishna without any extraneous consideration. Mahiman jnana yuktaha स्याद् द्विधि भार्ग अनुसारिणा रागानुग आश्रितानां तु प्रयासः केवलो भवेत् आदौ श्रद्धा तथा साधुसंग अत भजन क्रिया ततो अनर्थ निवृत्ति स्यात् ततो निष्ठा रुचिस्ततः अथासक्तिस्ततो भावात् तथा प्रेमात् अभ्युत्थयष्यति साधकानाम् अयं प्रेम्णा प्रादुर्भावे क्रमः क्रमः मनोगतिर्विच्छिन्नां हरि प्रेम परिलुप्तः अभिसंधिविनार्मुक्तः भक्तिर विष्णु वशंकरी. Bhakti Vishnu Vashankar. That's what in Narada Pancharatra it says. That spontaneous attraction to Krishna, which is said to be due to the extraordinary mercy of the Lord, can be placed under two headings. One is profound veneration. And second, being automatically attracted to Krishna without any extraneous consideration. That is Kevala Bhakti. In the Narada Pancharatra, it is said that if one account of a profound veneration for the greatness of the Supreme Lord, one attains a great affection and steady love. Another The other one is being automatically attracted to Krishna without extraneous consideration. In the Pancharatra, it is said that Supreme Lord, if on account of a profound veneration for the greatness of the Supreme Lord, one attains a great affection and steady love for him, one is certainly assured of attaining the four kinds of Vaishnava liberation, namely by achieving the same bodily features as the Lord, achieving the same opulences as the Lord, dwelling on the planet where the Lord is residing, and attaining eternal association with the Lord. The Vaishnava liberation is completely different from the Mayavad liberation, which is simply a matter of being merged into the effulgence of the Lord. In Narada Pancharatra, pure unalloyed devotional service is explained as being without any motivation for a personal benefit. If a devotee is continuously in love with Lord Krishna and his mind is always fixed upon him, that devotional attitude will prove to be the only means of attracting the attention of the Lord. In other words, Vaishnava who is incessantly thinking of the form of Krishna is to be known as a pure Vaishnava. Generally, a devotee who has achieved the causeless mercy of the Lord on account of following the strict rule and regulations of devotional service becomes attracted by the supreme greatness of the Lord, by the transcendental beauty of the Lord, and by the spontaneous execution of devotional service. To be more clear, by executing the regulative principles of devotional service, one can fully appreciate the transcendental beauty of the Lord. In any case, such exalted positions are possible only by the extraordinary mercy of the Lord upon the devotee. So are you able to understand what it is said here?
So in both cases, Prabhuji, there is mercy, right? There is mercy of the Lord, or is it only in one case?
It is mercy of the Lord.
It is mercy of the Lord.
Krishna Tat Bhakta Prasadaja. We get devotional service to the Lord by the mercy of Lord and his devotees. We don't have pre-qualification. You might have done some pre-qualification, and unless and until you get the mercy of Krishna, people by their own choice they can study Vedas, but not necessary after having all that knowledge you become a devotee. Unless and until some devotee feels that, oh, I think this person should become devotee. That desire itself of the devotee, Krishna fulfills, and you get devotional service. And second thing that is most important that we need to understand that who gets that causeless mercy also, as it is said here, if someone who follows the strict rules and regulation of devotional service, that person's likely to become more, gets the more chances to have the mercy of Lord. And that's why we can see even the great devotees who are on that Raga Marg also, still they follow all the rules and regulations very strictly. Because that's the way of getting the mercy, that's the way of attracting Lord's mercy towards us. As Lord says, Yathamam prapadyatin tam tateva bhajami. Like in Ramayana, there is a nice shlok that says, Sarvadnyopi devesho sada karunika apisan. Lord is Sarvadnya, he knows past, present, and future of each and every living entity. And he is Sada Karunika. He is all merciful to everyone, not for only few, but he is giving his mercy to everyone. And still people they saying that If Lord is so merciful, then why someone is poor, why someone is so rich, why someone is born blind or with some disabilities, and some people are so filthy rich and they have all comforts of life, Why is it so? Then it is said, samsara tantra vahitva. All these things because he wants to carry out the activities in this whole universe. That's why he never disturbs anyone or anyone's karma. विधि का विधान जो है भगवान उस पर हाथ नहीं डालते, बोलते जैसे चल रहा है चलने दो, unless and until रक्षा अपेक्षाम अपेक्षते. If you desire, oh my Lord, please save me, it's you who is in control and who can change my destiny. In that way, if some devotee approaches their lordship, and Lord says, I am reciprocally respondent. Ye yathamam prapadyatam tatheva bhajamya. I reciprocate according to the way you approach him. So if someone approaches my Lord, it's you who can take charge of my life, and henceforth you do it whatever you want to do. Forget about my karma and everything. I'm not bothered about that. Like Arjuna, in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, in the second chapter, where Lord starts giving his instructions. Before that, we can see what Arjuna did. What he said, my Lord, now Shishyastimam Shadimam Tvam Prapannam. Consider me as your disciple. And now you tell me, Yat Shreyas Karo Nishyata, what is better for me? You know better than me what's good for me, In that way, when someone surrenders himself, then Lord takes care of his life, Arjuna gave the reins of his chariot in the hands of Lord, and he said, you direct me now. Otherwise, what happens? The Rathi, the charioteer, he guides the chariot driver. But here, chariot driver is guiding to the charioteer. When we give this reins of our life in the hands of Lord, then you relax. Otherwise, that rat race continues, So when someone loves their Lordship, and someone loves means he does that what is liked by the loved one. And that's why devotees are so particular of following all rules and regulations. And when you develop that by seeing your sincerity, Lord pours more love, more affection, more admiration for the Lord's activity in our heart. So the person who never follows the rules and regulation, he never understands the transcendental beauty of the Lord. Prabhupada says here clearly, executing the regulative principles of devotional service, one can fully appreciate the transcendental beauty of the Lord. People may be well behaving or having a good character, but they are not getting attracted to their Lordship. Why? Because they are not following rules and regulations. Vidhi purvakam. That's why Lord says, Ye shastra vidhi utsarjam vartate kamakarataha na siddhim avapnoti na shantim na paramam. They won't achieve anything. If you want to do devotional service according to your whims and ways, you are not going to achieve anything. And if you want to really achieve anything, then you need to follow the rules and regulation given by the Lord. Grantha, Mahanta, Pantha, and there's one more thing I forgot. So if you don't follow, and sadhana. If you don't follow scriptures, if you don't follow the acharyas, then it becomes an sampradaya, most important. Unless you choose one of the sampradayas, take shelter of the acharyas, and follow the rules and regulations given in that particular sampradaya, you are not going to get anything. You are not going to achieve any kind of a samsiddhi. Make sense?
Yes, Swami.
The next point, association with the pure devotees. Although many different processes for developing love of Godhead have been explained, so far, Srila Rupa Goswami now gives us a general description of how one can best achieve such a high position. The beginning of ecstatic love of Godhead, basically faith. Adav Shraddha. There are many scientists and associations of a pure devotees. Sorry, there are many societies and associations of a pure devotees. And if someone with just a little faith begins to associate with such a society, his advancement to the pure devotional service is rapid. The influence of a pure devotee is such that if someone comes to associate with him with a little faith, one gets the chance of hearing about the Lord from the authoritative scriptures like a Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Thus, by the mercy of the Lord, who is situated in everyone's heart, one gradually develops his faith in the descriptions of such authoritative scriptures. This is the first stage of our association with the pure devotees. In the second stage, after one becomes a little advanced and mature, he automatically offers to follow the principles of a devotional service under the guidance of a pure devotee and accepts him as a spiritual master. In the next stage, under the guidance of the spiritual master, the devotee executes regulative devotional service, and as a result of such activities, he becomes freed from all unwanted occupations. So, Adav Shraddha, then Sadhu Sangha. In Sadhu Sangha, there is a Bhajana Kriya. So, following all the rules and regulations. And because of that, what happens? Anartha Nivritti. So one becomes freed from all unwanted occupation. When he is freed from unwanted occupation, his faith becomes steadily fixed and he develops a transcendental taste for devotional service. That is Nishtha. And that Nishtha turns into test. He develops transcendental taste for devotional service and then attachment. And after attachment comes asakti. Oh, after ruchi comes asakti and then comes bhava, the ecstasies. And in the last stage, there is a pure love of Godhead. These are the different stages of development of pure love. So we need to focus more on this point, how nicely Srila Rupa Goswami Pad has explained from the beginning level up to the ultimum of this process of devotional service. It starts with a Shraddha. If you have a faith, then you will associate. Shraddhavan labate jnanam. The person who has a faith, he gets this knowledge and he gets opportunity to get the association of devotees. That's why they said Adav Shraddha. If you have a Shraddha, then what happens? Tatha Sadhu Sangha.
Prabhuji, question.
Hmm.
So faith, I mean, some people like they automatically have faith, while some are like faithless. I mean, no matter how much preach or anything, is it just because of envy
No one
or?
is faithless in the world. Everyone
Okay.
has a faith, but they don't know where to put,
Mm,
where to have that faith. Everyone has a faith. Even faithless person, he has a faith in something. That's why he is not having faith in one particular thing. Everyone has a Shraddha, but they don't know where to apply that Shraddha.
mm, mm, makes sense.
And that get develops more whom you associate with, A faithless person, he associates with the faithless, and he has a faith in that faithless person. That's why he never believes in the God. Oh, why? Because that person said. They quote someone, They quote some incident.
Mm,
They quote someone. One faithless person creates many, like, what's that? Charvak.
mm,
यावत् जीवे सुखम जीवेत ऋणम कृत्वा कृतं पीपे भस्मीभूतस्य देहस्य किं पुनरागमनं भवेत्. People has a faith in him, and that's why they don't have faith in God. But they have faith. They are not faithless. But they don't know where to keep that faith, where to have that faith. So someone has little faith, only he gets attracted to the sadhu sangha. A faithless person never comes. A faithless here is this term faithless is considered only for the nastikas who don't have faith in the Lord.
mm,
But astikas, they may not have faith in the Lord, but they have a faith that there is an existence of Lord. And when they come into sadhu sangha, then they realize, then they get cultivated by the knowledge, and then they start following rules and regulations. And that rules of regulations is bhajana. Oh, you people do ekadashi also. Okay, I will also. I can fast once in a 15 days. So they take up. Oh, you don't eat onion garlic. Okay, that's good. I will try to stop. And gradually they also give it up. So one by one, as they start associating with the devotees, संग में रंग तो बदल ही जाता है फिर. And then definitely then they start doing bhajan kriya. And once the bhajan kriya starts, then what happens? The unwanted thing goes away. Anarthanika. And then the nishtha, whatever they have read, whatever they are seeing, they develop more and more confidence into that thing. It becomes more stronger, their faith. And because of that strong faith, they develop ruchi. Once I know why I'm doing, then automatically I get that testing things. And once that ruchi is there, when you have that taste, then there is attachment, asakti. And when that attachment is there, then automatically that pushes you to develop some emotions, bhava. And because of attachment, oh, it's for my Lord. So let me cook it very nicely. Let the thing should be aromatic. It should be tasty. Oh, it should not be too hard because Lord has to chew it. So then that bhava starts coming. And then comes ultimately prema. When prema comes, then there is no rules and regulations. Out of love, you do everything for him. So that's the process of progressing in devotion. So now, point of contemplation for us is that where we stand actually. Because we have Shraddha, that's why we are discussing this. So the further steps where I'm lacking. If I'm not having a strong bhajana kriya, then anarthas will not go. After many years, if I'm seeing the same things are there in my heart, that means something is there. Serious problem is there with my bhajana kriya. So I need to improve that. And for that needs a really good sadhu sangha. Generally, it's very difficult to get sadhu sangha. Sadhu means satatam kirtayantamam, who always chants, always glorifies the Supreme Personality of God. And sadhu, who vidyate hriday granthi, and sadhate also. There are two things sadhu means. Sadhu, one who cuts, and sadhu, there's another meaning, who sadhati, who joins you with the Lord. He does two things. Vidyate hriday granthi, chinnante sarva samshaya. He cuts down all the doubts in the heart, not so, and attachments. And second thing, he connects you to the Lord. So that's the main function of sadhu sangha. So when you go for the sadhu sangha, and if you feel that, oh, today my attachment to the Lord, my faith, is become more stronger, that means you have a sadhu sangha. We go for the sadhu sangha and we come with the bad speculations only. Oh, he spoke like that, you were discussing about that, because that is our samskaras for many births in our past lives. So sadhu sangha, real sadhu sangha means Machita Madagada Prana Bodhayanti Paraspara. Tushyanti cha Ramanti cha. That is real sadhu sangha. So we'll stop here and we'll continue in the next session. Okay?
Okay, Prabhuji.